He's like, my wax is melting. Like, oh, shit.
Welcome to another episode of Around the Block Talk. I'm your host, Los, and today I get the pleasure of having none other than Francois Baptiste of 3D Productions. Thank you for joining us today,
Anytime,
Francois.
man. Good to see you
appreciate
again,
it.
man.
So I have always, I'm gonna confess something to you. I used to always check out his events, go to his events, help support his events.
Always.
And when I started doing promotions for Latin nights here in Denver and downtown, I used to always really look at my man Francois, keep up with what he was doing, always saw that he had high quality on everything, the experiences were amazing. I mean, I've known this man since college years, and I gotta say that I've never gone to a 3D production that was a bad event or a bad experience. So thank you for being on the show.
Anytime.
Just to give you a little background on Francois, he is one of the founding fathers of 3D Productions, one of Colorado's and the city's longest standing promotion companies, and they've been doing amazing events around music. They do concerts, special engagements, nightclub events, you name it. These guys are some of the premier promoters in the city, and it is an honor to have you here on the show today.
No problem, anytime. Me to sound old though, man.
I didn't mean to, but hey, he's a veteran, man. He's an authority figure in his industry, and you know what? You gotta look up to that for sure.
I appreciate it, man. Over the years, we had some good times, man.
Yeah, great times, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. And many more to come.
Yes, many more to come. So, let's get into it, yeah?
Absolutely.
So today, we're gonna talk about 4 points about throwing the perfect event and marketing it, right? All the key fundamentals. So the first one we were talking about was knowing the intent and the outcome. Why is that important?
Well, you want to kind of, you want to dive into it, believe in the project, the event, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. Is your goal is, your intent is to have people appear at your event, come to your event, or buy your product. So you got to kind of really focus on what your absolute goal is, first and foremost, and that will kind of take you to the direction on what you need to put out there in terms of the flyer, the wording, to get people to come. So when you're doing events, when you're doing a restaurant opening, whatever you're having, is the customer, the event has to go flawless. Like, it's the customer experience that you want people to do. When people go to concerts, you want to make sure that they're having a good time, that they get in on time, that the staff is good, and everybody's treated equally, and you walk out and say, wow, that was a great concert.
I see what you mean. I see. And that's very critical, because if they have a bad experience, right, that relates to your business as a whole, right? So if they show up and they have a crappy time, the line's too long, one of the acts cancels, the audio system goes out, or whatever, you can't ticket people coming in, then you're just creating a bad experience, and then that relates to your brand.
If you open a restaurant, the food's cold, or it's undercooked, or salad looks like it's 15 days old, people are never going to come back.
Yes.
Never come back. So it's it's important, no matter what event you're doing, that it's a two-pronged kind of attack. Is one, what you're putting out there to get your customers in, or you're asking them to spend their last dollar, and then they go, and what their experience is going to be. It's always important to make sure that they coincide.
Well, then that leads us into the second point, and that is getting the word out, right? How to get the word out. And you say that one of the second key point is definitely using technology. And in today's world, what does that mean? The internet and social media.
And there's a lot of different platforms. I mean, let's just talk about a few of them. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's Twitter, there's constant contact email lists, there's good old flyers and posters. You got to kind of know who your customer is and how to best reach that customer. You can do it through research. Sometimes you just look at what other people are doing. Sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel and create something. You're just like, okay, what's that guy over there doing it? But not only you say what that guy's doing, but how do I do it better?
Reverse engineering it.
Absolutely. And that was one of the things when I started. I always really patted myself on the back. Well, it was like I go to other people's events, or I see other people's concerts and what like that, and I say, where were they making the mistakes? Where wasn't the customer happy? Where were they lacking? And when I did my own events, I made sure that, you know, whether, you know, the staff, when you walked into an event, a party, whatever, they were always as pleasurable as possible. Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. When they leave, that kind of stuff. So basically, you know, one of our personal our favorite platforms to promote to is Facebook. And the reason being that is that there's a lot of data through Facebook when you promote. You know who opened it or who's looking at it. There's also, you know, you can target your market a lot better, which is important, especially when you have that budget. You know, you, from age group to men or women to regions, it's really easy through Facebook. But again, some people may find, and depending on what you're promoting, some people might find Instagram to be better. Some people might find be Twitter, or it's a combination. We definitely use everything because we want to make sure that everybody knows about it. Obviously, a lot of this stuff is free, but our biggest numbers in terms of who follows us is on Facebook. But we don't neglect the other aspects. So it just, again, it depends on what you think. You know, if there's a service, like you have a restaurant and there's a restaurant.com, then you obviously go through that. You know, but you also need to build your own clientele. You know, you really want to get the data back on, you know, what you're putting out there. So again, when you do it the next time, you know how to do it better.
How to improve on your process.
Absolutely.
In the past years, you know, before the internet, you know, got proliferated, it was flyers, it was posters, it was getting it in the newspaper. You'd get it into the Westward, which we see from here up the rooftop over here. We can see the Westward. You would be advertising on those places. You would be on the radio. You would be on television. Well, because of the paradigm shift, now you could access that same number of people, and if not more, through the internet.
I use Facebook Boost to really maximize my dollar spend and really nitpick who I want to promote to, and I can again look at the results and look at, you know, real-time numbers and all that stuff, so it helps me move forward.
There is a component where you have this organic growth and this virality of your content. That is great when you do a specific process and strategy, and that means collaborating with other people and that are influencers and whatnot.
Absolutely.
But if you listen to what Francois is saying, is that you must have a budget and you must put money behind your posts, because that's the new way of, instead of putting that billboard up or hearing that ad on the radio, it's the equivalent on social media. So if you're on Instagram, boost and pay for that ad on Instagram. If you're on Twitter, pay for that ad on Twitter. If you're on Facebook, pay for that sponsored ad, because that is gonna, like Francois says, lets you nitpick and pick the exact end user that you're looking for.
And let me say what the big thing about it is not the boost is to expand your audience in terms of what they can see, but it also causes repetition, and that's really the key. And it's just kind of like when you used to do it with radio, even a billboard, what have you, is that, you know, when that thing appears on your timeline 2 or 3 times, maybe the first time you're like, okay, cool, and then you're like, wow, I seen that, and then somebody else will say, hey, did you see that too? And then it starts the snowball effect, and then, you know, in that you can hyperlink, you know, the ticket links and the Facebook event page. So to me, again, it's effective. It's like a 3-headed monster, 4-headed monster that you can really incorporate a lot of different things to make sure that people are coming to your event. Because again, you know, in concert world or even, you know, club world, if people can buy a ticket in their hand, they're gonna come and they're gonna tell somebody, like if we're having a conversation there, you go into this event and you say, I don't know. I say, oh, I already got my ticket. So it's definite. You're like, and you start to feel like, damn, he's going. I need to go.
And that's a good point about that, is that when you're on social media, the beautiful thing is if you saw an ad in the Westward, you wouldn't be able to access the Westward newspaper and get your ticket. That's the beauty of technology, is that, you know, 3D Productions really works to get that post in front of you, but have that link so that you buy that ticket, because in an instant you want to have that impulse buying effect, because when they're excited and they see that ad, they see that video, you want them to buy. And that's a key component for, one, your cash flow. You're going to start getting money in already because they're going to be pre-purchasing your content, whether it's gear, whether it's an event, whether it's whatever that you're selling, that link is key because now you get them to commit
Absolutely.
to showing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you had a good point leading into the third key component. Nice segue, by the way.
Appreciate it.
Repetition. You have to stay consistent. Why is that so crucial?
Well, I think sometimes, again, you have so much stuff that goes on in your daily life, and then, you know, with your phone and the world going crazy, and then ads are being thrown through you, whether you're listening to radio and TV and, you know, Facebook and Instagram. It's so important that as a person that's putting on events, that you can put in people's face as many times as possible. That's really, really important. You know, like we talked about in college, is that I had drop-offs of places I dropped flyers off, and I was really good about where I positioned them, where I placed them, and then posters. And you know, even back in the day when you did concerts in CU Boulder and they had the kiosk and you put the posters there, I'd go maybe on a Monday and I'd make sure everything's there. By Wednesday or Thursday, I'd make the rounds again and make sure that, you know, my flyers are nice and square there, that my posters ain't been, you know, covered by somebody else. You know, make sure the stack of flyers, there's enough flyers there for the next drop off. And that's the same thing with like technology, in my opinion. It's just repetition of like, you know, a new day. So if I saw it on Monday and, you know, it's going to recycle through your phone another day, you're winning.
Yeah, and that's the winning formula for sure is repetition. You know, let's say, who's gone to an event? Who's gone to a birthday? Who's been told when you were younger, been told by your parents to take out the trash? How many times did they tell you? They repeated it to you over and over again. And what did you do? You finally remember to go take the trash out. You know, when your friends send you that text, hey, you gonna go to homie's party? You're gonna go to homie's event? Yes, yes, yes. And everybody's sending you. And that's the same thing. It is that, but it's in the branding world, it's in the marketing world, is making sure that you put out that content, the post. That's why the post is so critical, is you put out that content on a regular basis. Some are boosted, some are put out, some are texted, some are emailed, some are told with a phone call. But you gotta repeat that marketing over and over again. And I think that's the real formula, because sometimes people think that, oh, I got my poster up, oh, I got my two, you know, posts on Facebook for the week, and I put $1 for my one ad. That ain't gonna cut it, guys. You know what I mean? There is a formula to that. Just because you can say you put a post doesn't mean you're gonna be successful. Just because you boosted an ad doesn't mean you're gonna be successful. Are you boosting it 5 times a week? Are you posting five times a week? You know, that's the repetition.
Sometimes you can throw a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
I've done it, and it's worked. But you definitely, you know, you got to kind of narrow things down, and you don't want to spin your wheels, and you don't want to waste your time. And again, you know, it's a fine line of annoying people and letting everybody know. You know, I've got emails, and, you know, like for example, when we used to do text messaging and stuff, you get a couple angry text messages like, "Oh, this isn't Bob's phone anymore. Please stop sending me texts." You know, but. You know, and then somebody would always be like, "Well, thank you. I didn't know about this. I really appreciate that y'all text him." So, but again, with times comes different marketing, and obviously, the text messaging promotion works for some people, and then other people it doesn't anymore.
Yeah, it's evolved a little bit beyond that. I mean, it's still effective, but there is, you know, other tools out there, and with today's technology, it's constantly evolving, right? So different ways of repeating yourself, of repeating that messaging, right?
I mean, I think a lot of people will say that they found something that works for them, but it evolves every day, which is kind of fun because you got to find the next thing to where, how do I reach new people, and how does this work? You know, you've always heard the wording, you know, work smarter, not harder, and technology's definitely allowed you to do that. You know, you depending again what platform you're using. You know, it could be one button a day you just press and it goes out to everybody, and then you go off and do whatever you want to do, go hike in the mountains, whatever. But yeah, it's nice these days compared to back in the days when we started.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I saw this guy hustle like crazy. Being a student, I mean, I remember being a student. I'd see you in class, I'd see him running around on campus, and then they would like, it was like 2 different outfits that I would see. Like they would be all in school gear, and then after that it was like work gear, promoting gear. They'd be out, they'd be putting out their flyers, be networking with people, always doing business. And it was super hard, and it still is. You know, it's not for the faint of hearted. You know, I mean, running your own business, being an entrepreneur, whether it's a promotion company where you're throwing an event, whether you're running a business, it is a lot of hard work. And the reality is that, you know, he has a good point, is that you have to get smarter. You know, yeah, you're still gonna work hard, but you don't want to work harder in the inefficient ways, and that's what technology allows you to do. And I think that gets us to the last point, is that, you know, there's basics though. You know, you gotta stay to certain basics when you're doing promotions, right? Absolutely. You know, you gotta stick to the what, when, where, and why. Why is that still so important, the basics?
I mean, you know, again, there's in today's world of marketing and promotions, whatever, there's no set way to do it, but there's some basic information that people want to know. Is, you know, what am I going to, why am I going to, when is it, where is it, and those are the important things. And after that, you can kind of customize your own look and, you know, your own feel, and get creative the way you want to do it.
So let's recap. 1 is know your intent, right? And knowing your intent is having a very detailed and specific idea of what the event is about. 2, use your technology, right? Make sure you use the technology, social media, because it allows you to find the perfect audience, the people that are going to go and support you. It allows you to specify who you're going to go to, and then the results tell you how well that is working, right? How effective. The 3rd point, have repetition. You need to stay consistent.
Absolutely.
You need to repeat, right? On a regular basis. And at the end, you need to have the basic information so that people always know who you are, what you're doing, where you're doing it, when you're doing it, why you're doing it. Because I have seen people put out marketing and they forgot the date, they didn't put the address, they forgot to put the website where people were gonna buy tickets, and that completely changes the entire game and the result of your event. So those 4 key pieces, I think, are super pivotal for a successful event.
Let me have one last one. And you know, you can kind of decide whether it's after you do an event or before, but I think that when you go into this stuff, this is kind of what you need to keep in the back of your head, is protect your brand and your reputation. And that will say a lot about how you do your business. The presentation, during, after, before, all that stuff, is that if you really believe in your brand, you want to make sure your reputation is what it's going to say on your flyer. If you say, hey, you know, even though it's 1,000 square foot, but Beyonce's gonna be there, and then people really say, hey, oh shit, Beyonce's gonna be there, and then Beyonce's not there, it damages your brand.
Yeah.
You know, and you look like a fool, and people never trust you again. So maybe it's, you know, trust, reputation, and brand is the last one, you know, in terms of marketing and putting your product out there. Absolutely.
Thank you for dropping some real knowledge on these kids, man.
Let me just say everybody that's come to our events over the years and supported us, we always thank you. I don't know if we can ever say that enough, but we do appreciate it.
And how can people stay in touch with you and follow your events and be part of the fan?
Real simple, you know, if you want to find out about upcoming concerts and the club stuff we do, you can go to 3deep.net, and then we're also on Facebook under 3Deep Productions. 3Deep Denver is our Twitter and Instagram. Send us a note. Let us know what you want to see come to the Denver, and what you like, what you don't like. That's one thing that we want to do. Talk about everything we do is always make things better.
Yes.
You know, always, no matter what. So.
That's what's up. So if you like this video and found value, please like it and share it and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get more marketing advice that works. So there you have it. Another great episode of Around the Block Talk, marketing advice that works. Today you got to see an amazing episode about how to promote a perfect event and what goes into it and the keys. Francois, thank you so much for schooling the kids, man.
No problem. I'm glad I could be part of it. I hope that it inspires somebody, it helps somebody, and that, you know, if anybody ever needs something, reach out to me. I'll try to help them as much as I can. But I really appreciate you doing this, because again, knowledge is key.
Knowledge is key. And knowledge is definitely what's going to separate you from everyone else. When you take real knowledge from the experts in the trenches, and that know what's going down on a daily basis, listen and take this episode to heart, and I hope you find great success. So we'll catch you on the next episode of Around the Block Talk. I'm your host, Los, and we'll catch you next time.